Kelvin Celsius was mistakenly reincarnated into another world by the goddess of reincarnation. The following day, Kelvin goes on a monster hunting spree with Clotho. Cashel offers Kelvin to join his party, but he declines. Kelvin meets the guildmaster of Parth's Adventurers Guild, Leo. Later, in Kelvin's room, he tells Ethel all his secrets about himself and has Ethel allocate her skill points to her choosing. However, they have to share a bed, causing Kelvin to experience a sleepless night. After a month, Kelvin brought Ethel to explore the dark purple forest and tame numerous monsters there. In that duration, Ethel leveled up and got new talents and powers. Kelvin gained a blacksmithing ability as well. Afterwards, Kelvin's group reports the successful mastery of a wicked sage tree to Ange at the Adventurers Guild, and Ange congratulates him. She also lets them know they will be able to take the rank up exam after completing one more successful quest. Kelvin could advance to rank A and Ethel to rank B. Ethel's final exam resulted in a clean hit to the examiner's skull, which makes Kelvin feel bad for Erd. Then, Ange extends an enthusiastic invitation to Ethel to visit a new candy shop she discovered. Ethel asks Kelvin to come along too. Ange then induces Kelvin to accept the offer. The next day, Kelvin thinks about Melfina beside the fountain. She left his servant network that morning to deliver a holy oracle. Kelvin eventually meets Ange, and Ethel joins them. Due to Ange's pushy nature, Kelvin compliments Ethel for her stunning outfit. After buying some sweets, they sit at a table where Ethel tries to feed Kelvin some of her cake. When a small group of men comments on the act, Kelvin explains that it is like that when he tastes her cuisine at the inn. Ange does the same with a delicious roll because she doesn't want to fall behind. The group is then given more attention. Tabra, the third prince of Tryson, and his two guards interrupt Kelvin as he attempts to control the situation. According to Tabra, commoners shouldn't engage in romantic activities in public. Kelvin learns from Ethel that Tryson is the military advanced nation to the east. One of the guards proposes that Tabra use his authority to punish Kelvin for his status as a commoner. Tabra shows interest in Ethel and offers to pardon them in exchange for Kelvin giving him one of his women. After swiftly dispatching the two guards, Kelvin casts a gravity spell on Tabra and inquires about his purposes for being in Parth. Tabra, who has been affected by Kelvin's spell, says he has come to speak with Leo about a powerful adventurer who has been utilizing Parth as a base. When Tabra wants the adventurer to work for him, Kelvin confesses that he must be the adventurer and declines to do so. After things are resolved, Kelvin recommends shopping for more sweets, and the girls accept his suggestion. Meanwhile, Priestess Colette prays to the statue of Melfina at the Holy Empire of Demarus Great Cathedral in hopes of getting a meeting with her. When Melfina responds to the prayer, Colette provides her with an update on the heroes of Daramus. Melfina, delighted by the news, sends Colette an oracle that instructs the heroes to destroy evil on the western continent and force it to avoid Parth. After that, the heroes arrive, and Colette tells them what she's learned from the oracle. At the inn that night, Ethel praises Kelvin for helping her that day, and Kelvin thinks nothing of it, but apologizes for making them continue to share a bed. It results in a heart-to-heart conversation where Ethel feels unworthy of Kelvin's preferences in women, but he denies any of what Ethel believes. The following day, Kelvin meets with Gerard, Clotho, and Ethel to discuss the statistics of the hero party. Everyone agrees that the heroes' levels are far lower than they anticipated. The heroes, according to Kelvin, were summoned a year ago. As such, their level should be at least 100. On the other hand, Kelvin is content that he successfully created a blacksmith sword from a monster material drop, but Gerard says Kelvin had many failures that led up to that one success. Gerard notes that Kelvin made a dreadnought shield and crimson cape for him. Ethel notes that he created a sage's black robe for Kelvin with her sewing kit. Claire then knocks on their door to inform Kelvin that the guild wants to speak with him. In the guild's master room, Leo informs Kelvin that a rank D dungeon called the Hermit's Cave, where a secret room was discovered containing a powerful demon inside it. Melfina mentions that demons are among the strongest races, along with dragons and angels. She adds that demon strength varies greatly depending upon the individual, and the weakest will be rank B. Leo also mentions an incident involving the third prince from Tryson earlier that day and the troubles that have arisen from it. When asked if Kelvin would do the quest, Kelvin accepts it. Afterward, Kelvin, accompanied by Ethel and Gerard, visit the Hermit's Cave dungeon. Erd tells about the situation surrounding the dungeon. Erd has erected the barrier around the hut and monitored it carefully, which will not work for the demon stronger than rank B. Ethel uses Lamvent to brighten the way in the the dungeon, and Kelvin asks Gerard to lead. The group enters the dungeon and finds the secret room. Kelvin senses 2 life forms in the room and says they will handle the strong one first. When they enter the room, they find a demon woman chained to a monolith. Another demon, sitting atop a pile of bones, introduces himself as Archdemon Victor. Kelvin then asks who the chained woman is, and Victor responds while sealing the room off as the Demon Lord's daughter. Melfina then informs Kelvin that there are 3 Demon Lords in the past, and the lady must be Gustav, the current one's daughter. Kelvin claims Gustav didn't have any children, and Victor corrects him by saying that Gustav has, but not officially. Victor also says that he leads the gang into a trap so that they can consume and absorb their power. Gerard blocks Victor's lunge toward the group with his shield. Victor can take the traits of those he consumes thanks to his proficiency in gluttony. Victor intends to consume the group and acquire human traits too, break the barrier, and thus devour Sura, so he will become the subsequent mighty Demon Lord. Melfina then comments on how Kelvin's nasty habit has come to light again, and Gerard agrees. The practice is that Kelvin smiles before he faces a strong opponent, making him a battle junkie. A thrilled Kelvin tells Victor how fun it is going to be to fight him, and Victor makes fun of him by using the dark magic spell of Hades' army. The magic causes a group of nearby demons to come to life, and then Victor commands the monsters to attack with the snap of his finger. Kelvin notes that the monsters are B-ranked, so he uses his wand's wind shot spell to eliminate a small group of them, while Gerard assists him in destroying the other ones. Victor complements their skills, and then uses a smoke bomb to conceal his presence and launch a sneak attack. However, Kelvin could sense his presence and alerts Gerard, who immediately counterattacks. Despite this, Victor outclasses Gerard because of his excellent armor and 50% slash damage resistance. Victor turns his attention to Kelvin, who immediately commands Clotho to attack Victor's arm. After casting Glory's Sanction, Kelvin casts Magic Absorption on him. The attack binds Victor's left arm, but it is not enough to keep him in place. To enchant Gerard's blade, Kelvin casts Vortex Edge. As Gerard goes to attack Victor, the demon tries to launch a sneak attack against Kelvin. Then Ethel reveals herself and fires a blaze arrow at Victor. Gerard cuts off Victor's left arm because his right arm is too badly burned to use. Although pleased by this outcome, Kelvin has the group fall back as his Glory's Sanction just expired. Victor compliments the group for doing the second most significant damage ever done to him and attributes his loss of edge to the period of tranquility. Victor, however, will not give up and uses Jin Scrimmage to cover himself in a sinister power. Kelvin, Ethel, and Gerard each cast a spell or used a skill against Victor to stop the attack from being fully cast, but they were too late. Kelvin asks Gerard to use the loyalty skill to max power. Once Victor lunges at the group, Kelvin casts Earthen Rampart to block him, but he breaks through it, forcing Gerard to use his shield as a last resort defense. Victor then gains the upper hand over Gerard, but Ethel diverts his attention with a few arrows before he can attack him any further. It enables Gerard to launch a counterattack against Victor. Then Clotho spits all of Kelvin's failed weapons back at Victor. Victor is knocked against a wall by a trifecta attack from Kelvin, Ethel, and Clotho, which also forces a pillar's debris towards Sarah Ball. Victor grabs a piece of debris that would have crushed Sarah and quickly moves it to the side before falling on his back and admitting defeat. When Kelvin calls out his lying to devour Sarah, Victor responds that if he hadn't lied, Kelvin's group would have battled as hard against him. Victor says Gustav had given him the responsibility of protecting her. Victor trained Sarah in magical combat in the flashback. The heroes group launched an assault on the Demon King's fortress. When King Gustav's life was in danger, he gave Sarah a seal that could only be broken by a human and taken to a remote location where she would be protected. When Victor did locate Sarah, he would protect her while he waited for the heroes to have long gone passed away and for a time of peace to revive her so she could take the role of the next Demon King. Victor begs Kelvin to bring Sarah to his group before he passes away, but he declines to join him as a servant because his loyalty is to Gustav and not Kelvin. Kelvin then breaks the seal on Sarah, and upon her awakening, she angrily denounces Victor and her father reward for their self-centeredness. Bird meets Kelvin outside, and Kelvin displays evidence of the demon's captivity in the dungeon to him. Bird wonders about the identity of the woman Kelvin is carrying on his back. Kelvin responds that the woman is someone the demon has possessed. Sarah is concealing her wings and horns with a camouflage hairpin. After that, Kelvin transforms Gerard into a commander of the Abyssal Knights. Kelvin queries Sarah about her well-being. Kelvin will face the consequences, according to Sarah, if anyone identifies her, but Kelvin asks her not to worry. Sarah and Kelvin have a brief talk before Sarah is taken to Parth and given a short tour by Kelvin and his group. Later, Kelvin is promoted to rank A in the Adventurers Guild when he informs them of his achievement in subduing the Dungeon Master. Back at the inn, the front desk staff and other guild members celebrate Kelvin's success. Sometime after the party, Sarah remembers a memory of her with Victor and is excited to see mountains, sea, and other continents. Sarah is summoned by Kelvin as one of his tamed monsters. Later in his room, he displays the results of his S-rank blacksmithing and Ethel's S-ranked sewing. Sarah displays the weapon Arendite, which she made out of Victor's armor, and also exhibits Queen Terror's armor. Gerard is given a brand new magical sword named Dainsleif. When asked about his and Ethel's weaponry, Kelvin replies that they reveal them during combat. When Ethel inquires what Kelvin wants when he becomes tired and hungry, Kelvin replies that he wants some rice, but neither Ethel nor the others know what rice is. Eventually, they go toward Toraj on a wagon. Sarah notices a river, and Kelvin asks if she wants to go fishing. Kelvin promises Sarah when they get to Toraj, he will explain it to her because she has no idea what fishing is. Meanwhile, Gerard reports that Melfina has gone missing. Kelvin remembers the night following the celebration of his promotion to rank A when he wants to summon her but is unable to do so because of her god status. Melfina gives in and lets Kelvin call one of her avatars while she takes a little break. A group of robbers, introducing themselves as the notorious Black Wind Gang, appeared at that very moment. The wagon driver recognizes them as a notorious gang that operates primarily in the Toraj area, but he was purportedly eliminated by an A-rank adventurer from Trycen. After using Appraisal Eye on the bandits, Kelvin allows Sarah to handle them, but doesn't allow her to use the Arendite. Sarah first handily defeats the bandit Ensu, who tries to capture her. Frightened by Sarah's unnatural strength, the head of the bandits sends out the others to deal with her, but quickly gets overwhelmed as well. A large, mallet-wielding bandit named Gilda also gets overpowered by Sarah, despite having above 200 level strength. With the bandits now captured, the head bandit claims their boss is level 70, which intrigues Kelvin, and he asks her for more information. Finally reaching their destination of Toraj, Kelvin notes how it resembles old Japan. Gazing at the sea, Sarah asks Kelvin to teach her how to swim, and blushing, Kelvin agrees to the request. Afterward, the group reaches Toraj's Adventurers Guild and turns in the bandits they captured. The guildmaster, named Mist, formally thanks them. Mist says that Trycen's famous adventurer, Kristoff, supposedly destroyed the group. However, they're now back and capturing people for the slave trading business. But no actions can be taken against them because it would cause a rift between the Trycen and Toraj. Upon testing, Sarah finds a level 50 person by the town entrance. Hearing this excites Kelvin as the heroes of Daramas arrives in the town. Later, the heroes of Daramas learn of the bandit situation, and Toya wants to deal with them. Setsuna admonishes him from getting involved. While Toya and Setsuna bicker about the case, Mist notes how Kelvin requested to relay this information to the heroes. Down in the bandits' base, a bandit named Hope is about to violate a little slave girl named Luca, but Kelvin's party arrives at the scene in the nick of time. Hope then tries to attack them, but is taken out by Gerard in a single punch. Upstairs, Kristoff, the bandit leader, talks with Prisra, informing her that Karna, the head bandit from earlier, has been captured. At that moment, Hope appears at the room door and faints to the ground upon its opening. Kelvin's group then goes after Kristoff, Prisra, and Ado. Soon the heroes of Daramas reach the bandits' hideout and get to the room where the enslaved people were held captive, and the heroes encounter Clotho. Luca says that Clotho is the pet of their savior. Understanding his mistake, Toya introduces himself as the hero of Daramas to them all. Also, Luca's mother asks the heroes to save the rank A adventurers in trouble. Wasting no time, the heroes rush to where Kristoff and his companions were and find them all knocked out on the ground. They then confront Kelvin's group, who await awaits the hero's arrival. Thanks for watching my anime recap. If you liked it, subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. Leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the recap. I hope to see you all in part 3 of the series.